I'm the guy who makes 7 Up. I also write the advertising. I just came up with a great new slogan. Make 7 Up yours. Make 7 Up yours. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Make 7 Up yours, baby.
People just love it.
Make 7 Up yours!
Hey, my man, make 7 Up yours. Make 7 Up yours.
Same to you.
Same to me. You see, it's catching on already.
Hey, make 7 Up yours, man. Oh, we going global with this baby.
In the morning, I'm making waffles.
Whoever said orange was the new pink was seriously disturbed.
And when it comes to huge openings, a lot of people think of me.
Just call me a fuck ass.
Brilliant. Scary. I get nasty when I'm horny.
Welcome to Not Another 2001 Movie Podcast, a show exploring movies released during the first year of a chaotic century. Grab your head and shoulders, guys, because it's time to kill some aliens. I'm Allison.
I'm Slate.
I'm Josh.
And today we are joined by a special guest who is no alien to podcasting. Currently, he's actually making a podcast about constantly evolving. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my boy, Malcolm Sherrod. Malcolm, it's a pleasure to have you. Go ahead, man. Tell us and the listeners a little bit about yourself and shameless plug away, man.
All right. Thanks for having me, you all. I'm hyped to be here. And like you said, I'm all about evolution right now. My show is called Hidden Stats, and the core mission is looking at pop culture, movies, anime, gaming, and finding those hidden stats or life lessons that can help us with personal growth. Lately, I've been diving into this idea of doing your own thing, moving away from people pleasing and focusing on self-respect. So whether it's Miles Morales or the crew in Evolution, I love finding that one piece of inspiration that helps someone level up their own life. You can find me on Spotify as well as YouTube. So again, I appreciate y'all for having me on this podcast.
Yeah,
oh, we're glad you're here, and your podcast sounds way more useful than this one.
No.
Yeah.
I think every podcast has its use, its place. So, or everybody has its audience. You know what I mean? So that's what I believe.
For sure. Well, we're super excited to have you, man. Always been a pleasure talking movies with you, even way back in the day.
Yeah.
So glad to have you. And I had an absolute blast talking with you on your podcast. So
man, yeah, like it got a little bit more emotional than I had realized, but I mean, I think that's like the beauty in it, you know what I mean? Like how organic it was. So I really do appreciate it. And I've still been thinking about the fact that how you said it came full circle with you and my brother discussing all that stuff. So yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad I was able to share that with you because I didn't know if that was something you knew or not. So that was cool.
No, I didn't, man. So it's just still, it's just like just ruminating about it in a good way, you know, just absolutely. Every so often I find like, somebody like, come across you even 10 years later, give me like a bit of information about my brother that I didn't know. So that's always like, heartwarming in a sense, so it just, he lives on, so it like, even though mourning has like, it's rough days, it's just stuff like that brings you back up and appreciate your loved one,
Absolutely. If you guys are looking for more context on that, I was, in high school with Malcolm's brother, who's a little bit older than me, but a little bit younger than Malcolm. And we always stayed in touch as well. And his love and comedy and just everything about movies and the way he approached life was just addictive. Like he just drawn to me. We would talk movies all the time, and he's the one that got me inspired to start my first movie podcast. So because we had talked about doing it before he had passed away at a young age, so I shared that with Malcolm on the podcast for him because I didn't know if he knew that or not. So
definitely news to me. So but I worked at the theaters for like 7 years, man. So I mean, I'm no slouch to movies,
bro. You're the one that let me in to see Rob Zombie's Halloween 9 times. Like, I had nothing better to do with my life.
It was good times, man, for
real. We'll make sure to link to that episode if it's available by that point in the show notes for sure for everybody to listen.
Should have
to
it finished.
And also all your socials and stuff. We'll make sure to link to all that for the people.
Sure.
I did want to ask Malcolm before we get into the regular question, and I'm taking Allison's show over here for a second, but I am curious when we have new people on for the first time, kind of like, like just What do you remember about 2001 and who you were and what you were doing and kind of the movies, the kind of some other than Evolution that you might have been watching and liking at that time?
If I'm not mistaken, I was really into American Pie 2.
Yep.
For some reason, like I loved the whole, just them being in college and just all trying to make this whole big party as their like grand finale or something like that, and like just all the different like hiccups they would have going along the way, like Jim gluing himself to himself, you know what I mean? Yeah, so in Finch, or what's his name, Finch?
Yeah, Finch, yeah.
Wanting to get back with Stifler's mom and just like all the different things, some things reoccurred from the first movie, so it was something that I really latched onto in 2000s, but I was basically like I don't say a Rolling Stone, but I was a drifter, basically. You couldn't keep me home for anything. Like, the only time I really was home was to get ready for school or to watch American Pie 2 or I think Rush Hour 2 as well, you know? So it was, I can't remember if Nothing to Lose was in the catalog. I think it might have been in the 90s, but we were still watching it in 2000s. So just a whole, like, plethora of movies, man, that, like, I loved watching and honestly playing video games at that point. Like, WWE SmackDown basically was like, I think it was WWF SmackDown back then, but we loved playing that game, man. It was just like one of our like go-tos. Just cut the PlayStation on, play it for hours, man. So
hell yeah, awesome. Well, mental note has been made when we cover American Pie 2. We're getting Malcolm back.
Yeah,
we are doing Rush Hour 2 later this year because it was a top 10 grosser.
Yeah, that one was for sure. American Pie we didn't draft. We did a big draft before we started the show, but it's in the intro, so it's kind of it's a silent automatic entry, I guess.
Yeah. I think because like not American Pie, but Rush Hour 2, man. Like in high school, that was me and my buddies. Like we were just quoting that movie from left and right, man. Just in class, just having to be like separated because we just wouldn't stop. You know,
I've never seen it.
The best part is the bloopers at the end. Gefilte fish.
Oh man, yeah, it's good, man. Still not, in my opinion, better than Rush Hour 1, but I think it's a good contribution to the series the franchise.
For sure.
All right, and if we're ready, we'll roll right into our question of the week for the group. So what's your best, maybe unexpected or lesser known home remedy or life hack? AKA thinking about, finding out that a product that's meant to do one thing actually helps with something else.
I'll jump in first on this one, just because I was.
When you said you were just like, I got all kinds of redneck things, I was like, I get it, absolutely get it.
Yeah, Slayton, our group chat's like, I'm struggling. I was like, boy, I came up with my hillbilly ass came up with like 5 right off the bat.
See, like I feel like I had a bunch growing up, but like I don't know, nothing's coming to mind. But I know we did some stupid shit. You know what I mean? Like it did make sense.
So definitely the stupid one. I mean, I guess it was effective, but I definitely shouldn't have been doing it. So I would dealt with acne a little bit growing up, which I mean everybody does, to most people do, and I would use toothpaste to try to dry it out. So
that was one of mine.
Yep. That was not healthy in hindsight to be doing, but live and learn. But the one that I still do today, and it's less a product and more of a life hack thing, I guess. We often use, so growing up, we lived in a lot of houses that didn't have doors, and so you would use blankets and shit to as doors, and so to keep drafts and stuff out and get some privacy. So now I live in a home where my house is a sub, it's like a, what is it called, sub level. Half the house is like sub level and kind of a basement.
Was it a duplex
thing.
Maybe?
Yeah, I live in like a half
level.
duplex. Split level, that's what it was. That's what I was trying to reach for. And it gets really cold in the winters and hot in the summers upstairs, and so it just doesn't, the way that the AC system works, it doesn't one part of the house will feel really nice, one part won't, pretty much all the time. And so during the winter especially, I'll take a big blanket. Now we have a curtain to kind of separate it and give it some semblance of split between the two sections. But in the winter I still throw up a big blanket. I rig it up against the fence that's going around, or the railing or whatever, and it's a pain in the ass, especially now with the toddler running around. It was easier to do before he was around, but it makes a huge difference, especially in the winter. It gets so cold upstairs, and you'll just walk downstairs and it just feels so nice. It's like you walk into a sauna compared to where you're coming out from upstairs. So that's kind of my big life hack that I still hold on to pretty hardcore, is the blanket for winter.
Okay.
Between rooms.
Malcolm, what's your life hack?
So is this like modern day, or was this about,
it could be
like,
something you did as a kid or modern day, whatever works for you.
Okay. Well, modern day, I actually have an example with me. Is I repurposed these pickle jars, and I put baking soda in it, and also with the baking soda, I use essential oils. So the baking soda basically pulls in the odors to neutralize it, and the essential oils actually like release the fragrance essentially to make your room smell however, like lavender, mint, or whatever blend you want to put together. So what I did was I drilled holes in the top so it can pull in the odors and release the fragrance and whatnot. So I'll put one in each room just so like it can help like neutralize those odors. But as I'm about to change it out and refill it again, I shake it onto the carpet so it'll pull out the odors from the carpet, and then let that sit for about 15 minutes to an hour, and then vacuum it up, and then so on and so forth. So you can just experiment with whatever blend you want to experiment. You can go to like a local shop if they got like different oils and whatnot that they prefer. So yeah, you can just have fun with it, but something simple, but something, easy and cheap to make, to be honest. So
how long does one of those jars last you before you?
I would say I usually like maybe change them out like once a month or something like that. My wife, she was having like a sinus infection thing going on, so I blended like a Breathe Easy blend, and then put it right next to her like end table where she sits at the couch, whatever. So it was just helping her like be able to breathe as she's just sitting there doing whatever she normally does. But yeah, you can make it for whatever reason, like lavender and vanilla if you want to make it like a more warm and comfortable and inviting environment. So you can do whatever you want, man.
That's dope. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. So I mean, for me, I guess like one of the life hacks when I was younger, I don't know, we did it at daycare, but like they would sometimes they would like toast bread, cut it in half, and just like put butter on it, or not butter, butter and Parmesan cheese, and you'd have like your own like garlic parm,
garlic bread,
or whatever. I mean, but I don't know if that necessarily counts as a hack, but I don't know.
That's called cooking.
Yeah, it's some weak ass cooking there, but no. For me, I guess like the life hack that I had, or whatever the remedy that we came up with was growing up, I always played baseball, and I played catcher, and I was the dirtiest kid every time. I mean, like my uniform was filthy because I hustled, I ran, I slid. I'm constantly in the dirt anyways, like blocking balls. So, white uniforms never stood a chance around me. The crazy thing is white anything never stands a chance on me. I'm wearing a white shirt under this that I wore twice, and it has a stain on it already. Okay. But lucky for me, my mother had come across this thing that you could buy at the Dollar Tree called Awesome. Has anybody ever heard of Awesome? Do you know what Awesome is?
No.
It looks like Mountain Dew. Okay. It is a green bottle, and it's awesome. It's a degreaser. It's what you're supposed to use like to clean up, like grease and like hard floors and things like that.
Yeah.
Spray that on your clothes. It would get my baseball stains out like all of the time. My mom used to like spray them down with the Awesome, and then sometimes she would pour like in a little tub to put some clothes in. She would pour like Awesome and a couple other like laundry detergents and soaps and stuff, and would just let them soak in that for an hour or maybe overnight, and then wash it, and my white pants that looked like that you could never get clean would come out clean. So that's probably mine.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
How to do it, man.
All right, much like Josh, I could probably come up with like 50 if I really sat here and thought. Most of them from my dad, because he was such a cheap man and loved to repurpose things into other things. But the toothpaste for acne was one that I definitely did when I was younger. My sister used to put raw egg all over her face as a face mask. And it would dry and just get like all gross and peely. And it was supposedly, I don't know what it was supposed to do for her, but she looked like that every single night. The thing, so like, I assume you all know, or like you have an old t-shirt, you might cut it up into rags.
Yeah, for
right?
sure. Yeah.
My dad would insist that we cut up his old tighty whities. Rags. So most of our clean rags at home were like old tighty whities that were my dad's.
Why is this rag yellow?
Disgusting. I hope it's just yellow.
I'll just use my hands, man.
Yeah.
He used to pour like Coke on the windshield.
Oh yeah, I've done that. I've done that with batteries too.
Yeah, I was gonna say
like cleaning batteries.
Yeah, just
like
shows
car
how
batteries.
corrosive it is, you know.
Yeah.
But the reason I thought of this question was because it's something I'm dealing with this week, and to give you a little context, I got braces as an adult 2 or 3 years ago, so I had actual brackets on the bottom, had to get a tooth pulled, and it was because my bottom teeth were so crooked, and one of them was like sideways and forward, and it would rub canker sores right here just constantly. And when I finally saved the money and went to the orthodontist, I was like, it's like 80% vanity, but like 20% I'm so pissed off about getting canker sores all the time. And the best remedy I found for like getting rid of a canker sore fast is the spice alum, which I don't know if y'all have ever used. It's a pickling spice. So it's got that kind of sour, you're not supposed to swallow it, like a sour, tangy, but I've pickled stuff and you put alum in it. But yeah, I use like a Q-tip, put it on the canker sore, and it burns like hell for 60 seconds, and then it goes completely numb, and it like shrinks overnight. It's crazy. But I got a canker sore this week, and I had to do it again, and I was just like, oh, unexpected product. Yes, inspiration for this week, which ties into our movie because this movie gets saved from the aliens by Head and Shoulders shampoo.
Yeah. Something I don't have to waste my money on anymore. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, it's so good not having to buy shampoo. It really saves you hundreds of dollars over the course of your lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're talking about evolution.
All right. If I was a giant, nasty alien bird in a department store, where would I be?
Lingerie.
Not you, the bird.
Lingerie. So what do we do now? Wait. I think we've established that caca and tuki don't work.
Right. Sorry.
Do you all remember this? Because Malcolm, again, I'm the old one here. I'm 44.
Okay, I'm 39.
And, okay, you're closer to me. But I remember seeing some trailers for this, and a lot of the best moments are in the trailer, but it seems like this movie just kind of didn't have a huge build-up.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of trailers, and then it just disappeared.
Right, yeah. Just flew under the radar after it, I guess, released. But, yeah, I do remember it coming out because, I mean, I feel like, you know, with David Duchovny from X-Files, that was something that, like, stood out to me. Seann William Scott from American Pie, you know, so that stood out to me. And Orlando Jones, I remember him from Mad TV. So, like, I religiously watched Mad TV. That was like my Saturday Night Live growing up. So even as a kid, just watching that stuff probably shouldn't have been, but it is what it is.
Right.
Yeah. So
Josh and Slate, do you remember when this movie came out, or had you seen it before?
I actually do, because the trailer was something like I never could have forgot. Like when they're the mosquito or whatever you want to call it, like goes up into Orlando Jones. That was part of the trailer, and like I just remember like cackling as a kid, not even recognizing like what most of the references were at the time, but just thinking it was so funny. That I remember seeing that and like wanting to see it. I remember seeing the poster like everywhere. Even when it wasn't just the poster of like, you know, Seann William Scott like holding the gun down and all of that, just the other poster with just the smiley face with three eyes is
right. Yeah, I remember that.
like it's just so iconic, and it's crazy because like I always wanted to watch the movie. I always thought I was going to, and like I own the movie. I bought the movie. I remember seeing it on Blockbuster shelves all the time. It was like the movie to like rent, and I know it got referenced a bunch when I was a kid growing up and stuff, but I never watched it until we started doing it for this podcast. So I'm glad I did. I always wanted to watch it. So
yeah, I was the same way, Slade. I remember the poster, the iconic smiley face image is something that I feel like in some ways it's arguably one of the more iconic images from this year of movies, like is that smiley face image, oddly, even though the movie, as Allison's going to get into, maybe wasn't as big as it feels like that image was. And I don't remember, I feel like I had seen it before this show, but I certainly didn't remember any of it. I didn't even remember seeing the trailer. So I essentially consider this my first time watching it for this episode, and we'll get into it. But you know, I'm glad we did. I'm glad that Allison drafted it. I think it's a fun movie.
Yeah. So, Evolution, a little background here. 2001 sci-fi action comedy. And yes, this movie is a mashup of a lot of different genres. However, I drafted it as my action pick, even though very loosely an action movie. But, you know, if Josh can claim that The Fast and the Furious is based on a true story, then I can claim that this is an action movie.
Get him, Allison. Yeah. Get him.
My legs to stand on are running out fast already.
And this movie was directed by the legendary Ivan Reitman of, you know, Ghostbusters fame, amongst many others. It stars David Duchovny, Orlando Jones, Julianne Moore, Seann William Scott, random cameo from Sarah Silverman, and Ted Levine, a.k.a. Buffalo Bill.
Rusty Nail. We're in 2001. He's
and
Rusty Nail.
The voice of Rusty Nail, which we will talk about later this year.
Is he in something else? Is he in something else we have talked about already as well?
Yes, I think he is.
It's coming. It's
Fast and
off
Furious.
The top of my head. That's what it was.
He's a detective in Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's in like it's amazing how many things he's in. It's just like someone I had never paid attention that much to until he's popping up in all of these movies.
Good old Ted.
He's also in Ali, and we'll be talking about later in the year. He is every movie he was in from this year. We will talk about on the show.
That's kind of cool. He's the MVP right there. Oh yeah, Ted.
How can we get him on this podcast?
Yeah, I'm about to say he's kind of the mascot at this point.
Never know.
Yeah. So it was actually kind of hard to find a lot of like background trivia, behind the scenes stuff about this movie. There's just not a ton out there. From what I read about the screenplay, and different articles kind of framed this a different way, and I'm not quite sure exactly how it came about. But the thing that all of them agree on was the screenplay was originally like a very serious, straightforward sci-fi horror written by Don Jacoby, which I guess I can imagine a meteor crashes. They're evolving so fast. To me, that sounds like a terrifying premise.
Right.
Ivan Reitman saw it and apparently was like, we can turn this into a modern day successor to Ghostbusters. So he hired two writers, David Weissman and David Diamond. I'm just going to call them the Davids, to kind of work on the script. And depending on who you ask, they either were inspired by this other screenplay or incorporated parts of it. But there was a screenplay written by Todd Phillips of Hangover fame and Scott Armstrong that was about three friends who were hunting aliens, and it was just a pure straight comedy. So it seems like it was kind of a mashup of those two put together. The original ending was going to be a battle of wits with the aliens, and it was scrapped and replaced with the alien enema action sequence at the end. And this movie was a failure, pretty much all around. It made $98.4 million at the box office on an $80 million budget. Critically reviled. I didn't include any of the quotes in here, but they're pretty harsh on this movie. It's got a 44% on Rotten Tomatoes, full on rotten. But it does have a B+ cinema score, which is the audience score.
Yeah.
Which I think tracks.
Yeah.
'Cause
What our
this
boy
movie-
Ebert think of this one, Allison?
Oh, he thought it was bad.
He
Did not like
he
it.
worded
He hated every movie you drafted.
he worded it the same way as Zoolander. People wonder why.
This is why
people hate America.
people wonder why they hate America.
This is why they still hate Americans.
It was very interesting. Like I'll go into like Reddit and like this movie seems to be very beloved.
Mhm. That was
It's
the
just
sense I got.
interesting how 25 years
Yeah.
later, people are like, oh, like yeah, this movie's silly and it's a ripoff of Ghostbusters, but it's a lot of fun and it just didn't kind of get the attention that we thought it deserved. But I did laugh. There was somebody on Reddit who said that they met David Duchovny at like a con or at something, and they were like, "Oh my god, I love Evolution," and they said that he was just like,
Oh, no.
I think it's interesting that
funny.
it gets painted as a ripoff of Ghostbusters because I can see that, especially with Reitman being the guy behind it and saying the things he did, about it being like a success.
It's his idea. He straight up was like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna Ghostbusters this up. So
but I don't know. I don't feel like it.
I don't get the
I feel like it's more of it
Ghostbusters
stands
vibe.
as its own thing.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, I didn't
I
know.
absolutely,
I
I
can-
absolutely see it.
I mean,
It's
I can
not.
see it, but I don't. It doesn't feel like it's ripping
Right.
it off. to
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
like it feels more.
Maybe just
natural, I
inspired
guess.
by, if anything.
Yeah,
I think.
I was gonna say, I think if it's a different director who was like, yeah, like growing up, I loved Ghostbusters, and so this movie was inspired by Ghostbusters. People be like, oh, that's cool. He's like paying tribute to it, versus like it's the same director, so people are like, it's the same shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you think that colored the critical reaction at the time, Allison? Like just the fact that he was kind of that straightforward coming out saying that, like that automatically kind of put him behind the 8 ball with critics, probably.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, and I need to go look. Ivan Reitman's directed so many movies, but like his track record really kind of fell off
I was
in the later years. So
stunned because I looked, and I think Ghostbusters, other than this, is the only movie of his that I've seen. And the second Ghostbusters, it's not a stunning filmography really, especially in between this and Ghostbusters. Like I would say this is probably the second best movie he directed, maybe.
you haven't seen Junior or Kindergarten Cop?
Kindergarten
I'll say
Cop
that
was
I did.
dope.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
not seen Kindergarten Cop. I know that's an Arnold movie.
Yeah,
right?
Kindergarten Cop
Yeah.
was dope.
Yeah, that was a good one.
All right. Just again, couldn't find a lot of trivia, but here's some fun facts about this movie, which you all were talking about the first one earlier. So apparently, David Duchovny turned down a role in the Star Wars prequels, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith, to do this movie. So first of all, who do you think he was meant to play? And I've only seen both of those movies like once or twice, so I am not super into Star Wars. I can't remember characters, so I have no idea.
So for me, as a Star Wars nerd, I guess you could say, I totally could see him just having, one of the smaller roles as a politician that has 5 to 10 minutes of lines or something like that. And I don't remember all the names, but for me, who I would have liked to have seen him as would have been Dooku. I think that like if you'd have made Dooku younger, and like let Duchovny be this snarky, smart ass villain that's like thinks he's better than everyone and just rude. I think he gives off that vibe that he could have pulled that off, and he would have been a great Dooku in my mind.
That's where my mind went to, is like,
Yeah.
it would have been the coolest character for him to have been. But yeah, I'm with Slade. It probably would have been a more minor character, which I think makes sense to why you would not take Star Wars versus this, where you are the leading man. And also at the time, I thought about it more because I was kind of ripping on the guy, like, man, you turned down two Star Wars movies for this, just for like the royalty checks alone on that, like, man, like you're really
That's
like,
exactly what he was thinking whenever somebody said, I heart evolution, and he just shook his head.
But then the counter to that would be, well, he's fine with X-Files. Like, he's got real, like, he's eaten for life on X-Files. So, like, he does kind of have that leash to work with also. But at the time, too, like, the Star Wars things, yeah, it's a huge franchise. People are excited about it coming back. But it wasn't even even though I think there was more excitement about those movies coming back at that time, it wasn't what it is even now. It's just this constant thing. Like it could have been like in another world, those are the last Star Wars movies for 2030, and probably in a better world, honestly, because like we kind of like everything's a bit. I have a lot of feelings on franchises, Malcolm, as you might learn over the course of any of our podcasts if you listen to them. But I say that as someone who loves a lot of franchises, but I think we just got so geared up around that stuff that it's kind of made a lot of them worse, and not even the movie quality, but just like the whole thing, the whole apparatus around them. Count Dooku, though, Too Long Didn't Read would have been the character I would have liked to seen also.
Do you think that was a good career move to choose evolution over Star Wars, or no?
I mean, I was going to say that, like, I mean, other than like Hayden Christensen and like Ewan McGregor, I mean, has anybody really actually like their career has taken off from that series or that episodes 1 to 3?
Natalie Portman.
Say Natalie Portman, yeah, Natalie Portman. But like, if he were to play whatever character in Star Wars, I don't know if that would have actually improved his career.
I think that's a smart way of looking at it, because I think Dooku would have been the only character that would have given him a shot,
Right.
and that was probably Christopher Lee that was probably always going to be Christopher Lee for a lot of reasons. Like, it is an older character.
Mm-hmm.
And so unless that was the character he turned down, and I have a hard time thinking that was the case.
What about
that's probably,
What about is it Jimmy Smits that plays? I think it's Jimmy Smits. Hold on.
I don't even know who Jimmy Smits is.
Yeah,
you do.
Yeah, you do. He plays Nero in the Sons of Anarchy show as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
Jimmy
yeah,
Smits. Yeah, he's Senator Bilal or whatever, right? What's it?
Ball.
Oh, I know this face.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, he shows up and stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Bail Organa. That's his name. Bail Organa. He's the one that takes Leia, right?
I think so.
I like Star Wars, but I don't know Bail Organa.
You'd know him if you saw him.
I'm not that level of liking Star Wars.
You would know him if you saw him. He's got a pretty vital role in the prequel stuff. So,
I guess to answer the question, I would say it probably. I mean, it depends on how you look at it. I'm inclined to think it probably wouldn't have mattered much for him as a movie star, probably, given the role he would have been in. Now, again, for money and name awareness, it certainly would have been a better choice than Evolution. But I'm going to say this was the better career move, because it gave us a fun, weird movie to talk about. That honestly, he was the anchor, and there's reasons like he was the guy that would have been the best fit for this at the time. He's coming out of X-Files and kind of wanting to. It's interesting that he ends up in an alien movie trying to to spurn the alien show a little bit, but it's he's kind of riffing on it some, and it is obviously much tonally different than X-Files. So
I think the more interesting question isn't what role he would have had in Star Wars or if that was a good move for him. I think the more interesting question is, if he had taken the role in Star Wars, who's the anchor of this movie? Like, who takes Duchovny's spot in 2001? Yeah, see? Now I'm going to throw Hugh Jackman out there because 2001, Swordfish, he could have done an Evolution too. It would have been a solid.
Or he could have done this instead of Swordfish.
Swordfish is
probably
a good movie.
Would have.
I'm trying to think of other actors who've been very serious in roles, because I think that's what makes him kind of work. Is you think of him as Mulder and being, very calm and serious,
and he brings a seriousness to this.
He does. He's kind of the straight man, but he's also like,
I feel like he's like level-headed throughout the movie for the most part.
Yeah.
That's an interesting question, because you probably wouldn't have built it around Orlando Jones. He's a really good wingman type character,
sure.
so I don't think you change the whole thing to make him the lead. Although it's possible, because he was getting those types of roles at the time.
Yeah. All right, I have to think about that slate.
Tom Jane. Tom Jane.
I don't think this would have worked with Tom Jane.
He's a good straight man.
And I like Tom Jane.
Tom Jane from Deep Blue Sea would have been like right there with Duchovny as far as like seriousness.
All right, so let's moving on. The creature effects were overseen by K&B Effects Group, which is the company co-founded by our famed Walking Dead producer, director, and special effects supervisor, Greg Nicotero.
Yeah.
Cool.
Can we talk about the effects in this movie, or are we going to get into that later?
We're going to get into it in the discussion. And I mentioned one connection earlier, but yeah, this movie has two connections to the Hannibal Lecter verse. Ted Levine, again, played Buffalo Bill in the original Silence of the Lambs, and then Julianne Moore cosplayed as Clarice Starling.
Yes, she did.
in its lesser sequel, Hannibal.
I don't even know that cosplay is the kind way to put, cause that's an offense to cosplayers.
You know, it is funny too when they're on screen together. Not once in the entire time did I think, "Oh, look, it's Starling and Buffalo Bill together on screen." They're complete different movies,
Yeah.
but yeah.
And I had originally assumed that the bird call stuff was ad-libbed, but apparently the Tookie Tookie part was written in the script and taken from like the old George of the Jungle cartoon from the 60s.
It's in the George of the Jungle with Brendan Fraser too. The bird's name is Tookie Tookie.
Okay.
That's fun. I forgot about that. I watched those cartoons a lot growing up, and I did not clock that.
And this movie also spawned, I had no idea this existed, a short-lived cartoon series called Alienators, Evolution Continues, which continues the storyline from the movie. It ran for one season. It appears to not be streaming anywhere, though apparently you can buy it on Fandango at home.
Does Duchovny voice his character, or is it somebody different?
Oh, I'd be stunned.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to delve into that too much.
This is the era where this is like right around the end of the era. This was probably one of the last shows that actually had this thing where you would take like these quote unquote adult movies, and it's a PG-13 movie, so whatever. But like you would take movies like this and spin them off into kids shows or preteen kids shows, and that's what it was like. It's funny thinking about this as like a Ghostbusters ripoff, because Ghostbusters had a cartoon and stuff too, but I think of it, if I was going to, my mind would immediately go more to Men in Black as like the thing it was ripping off. If I was going to, and even though I don't think it's really much different from Men in Black too, but just because of the alien thing, that's where my mind would go more than Ghostbusters. And Men in Black also had a cartoon, and it's fun stuff. Oh, this aired on Fox Kids. Would have been part of the reason it probably went away too is like aired. It was on the last block for Fox Kids, because I'm looking at it now. Fox Kids ended in around the time that this would have been airing, so it would have been on the last block of Fox Kids. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I know. I think Godzilla, the Matthew Broderick Godzilla, it had an animated series, but also like that version of Godzilla laid its eggs, in New York in the subways, and all those little Godzilla babies were running around, and they had to neutralize them. So,
I do remember that.
That cartoon is much better than that movie.
Right, exactly.
That movie is so bad.
The cartoon is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I do have that on DVD, actually.
All right, there is an absolutely insane alternate ending to this movie, but we'll talk about that when we get into the movie discussion. Okay, I'm leading this a little more like I did the others, because I thought that worked better than trying to go scene by scene. So I know you all keep saying that you're like, I don't think it's a Ghostbusters ripoff, but like when I'm distilling it down to its parts, scientists team up with an everyman to study or prevent a supernatural threat. All the leadership is antagonistic or clueless. It's jokey, it's quippy. there's Dan Aykroyd. He
Right,
pops up,
right.
and then it ends with them defeating a giant squishy monster in an explosive, disgusting way.
I mean, when you put it that way.
And I'm saying this as I like this movie, and it doesn't bother me that people would call it a ripoff, but I absolutely see it. But I can think the fact that he was intentionally going for it, maybe.
Yeah.
Doesn't
It's
bother me.
For me, it's and I watched a little bit of Ghostbusters. I didn't get through the whole movie before we recorded tonight. And the thing, because it'd been a while since I'd watched it, and the thing that struck me at least immediately is, okay, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like the frames like are very much the same. Ghostbusters, and now it's older, so there's that. It's got a little bit more time between it than this does. It feels more. They're both comedies, of course, but Ghostbusters does feel a little like it's more leaning into the horror of it a little bit more. Like the situation they're in is, it is still playing it like a comedy, and Bill Murray's kind of just owning the show in terms of all the, what his characters bring to the table in terms of the jokes there early on from the get-go. But it still leans more into the horror, whereas this is very much like, it doesn't even try to really scare you with what's happening. I don't think it does. It's more of an action comedy. Whereas I don't think of Ghostbusters as more action, even though it probably maybe has more action than this movie does in a way.
Yeah, I want to say, like, even when the I guess the alien, they were all dead and basically were trying to leave the cave so they can, like, I guess, populate outside of the cave, but were dying. But then that one alien got up and birthed that other alien, and then it was able to breathe like the oxygen.
Mazel tov.
Yeah. But I think like whenever it took off and flew into the city, you didn't really like get that sense of danger like you probably did in like Ghostbusters, like that woman who was possessed by the I guess the ghost and whatnot, and like those two gargoyles. I remember as a kid, those little gargoyle dogs or whatever scared the shit out of me. So I didn't get that from this movie by any means.
Yeah,
everything. I think the first scene in Ghostbusters, even though it's played for comedic effect, it's still scarier than like even the opening scene in this movie. Even though they are similar, like an event happens that sort of triggers everything.
Yeah, and going to the alien that flies off and goes to the mall. That's
my favorite.
That is
in the whole movie.
A better version of Jurassic Park 3 than Jurassic Park 3.
Oh my, yes, it is.
Which,
absolutely.
Like, as soon as we were watching, I was like, this should have been Jurassic Park 3 right here. This is great. So that was cool. But the only time I really I understand what you're saying, Allison, as far as like feeling a lot like Ghostbusters. And I definitely see the similarities, but I do think this film does try to stand on its own at the same time.
Sure.
But the one time that really reminded me of Ghostbusters, and it feels like it very well could have been an exact replica scene from Ghostbusters, just changed to an alien, is when the women are in the house and she's like, "You've got a bad infestation problem." And she's like, "Open the door." "What, me? It's your house." And she opens the door, and that green thing looks just like the slime guy from from
Slimer.
Ghostbusters. Yeah, he looks like Slimer. But yeah, she's like, "When did you get a dog?" It's all right. Are you really that fucking stupid? It's clearly not a dog.
It's clearly not a dog.
What did she say? Like, we ain't got no damn dog or something like that.
Never mind. She's holding a long barrel revolver in her knife drawer.
That leads to, in the next scene, one of maybe my favorite line in the whole movie. They walk in, Orlando Jones and David Duchovny walk in, and Orlando Jones like, "That dog is all ass."
Yeah.
I love that it's like a turkey inside of the dog.
Oh,
It looks like a fucking turkey.
It's the little alien reference where that head pops out and grabs onto her hand.
Yeah, I loved that. That was great.
I just don't get reaching your hand out to something you don't know what it is. Like,
I'm with you, man. It's just like you don't. She's lucky she had fingers still.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mars Attacks. She would have got her hand ripped off, and there would have been just blood spurting everywhere. Honestly, this film reminds me more of Mars Attacks than it does.
It does kind of have more of that vibe. Yeah, I'm with you. I can see that.
And I haven't seen Mars Attacks yet.
You
So.
You gotta
yourself
fix
a Tim
that. You
Burton
should see
fan.
that before you watch Lion King. Like,
Mhm.
honestly. Yeah, but yeah, Malcolm, Allison's never seen The Lion King.
Never.
If that.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, yeah. I've
Start
watched
judging.
the original before, like the remake. Yeah, because the remake, I think,
Yeah.
is trash. That
She's never seen
one.
any of it.
It's no good. Oh yeah. Oh man.
Well, speaking of remakes, and talking about this being like an homage or whatever, I would much prefer to see this than the studios just remaking the same goddamn movie over and over just to use
Yeah.
IP. I
Amen.
did the 2016 Ghostbusters with the women that made all the
Oh,
incels mad. Was fine. It had some good moments, but it was like it didn't really totally come together. And then the next one where they with Paul Rudd, where they just
Afterlife.
they just
I
remade
think,
the first
is that
one.
called Afterlife or something?
Yes.
But
Yeah, I
it
think
brought
so.
I've
Bill
seen that
Murray
one.
back.
They
Yeah.
did. Yeah, they brought the member berries out for everybody to chew on.
And I'm like, okay, we're literally it's kind of like The Force Awakens. It's just Star Wars over again. But Frozen Empire, when they
I have not seen that one.
when they resurrected the corpse of Harold Ramis to show up as an AI creation, I mean, I
Yeah.
did not care for the movie before, but I was like, I cannot sanction this. This is not okay. And then directed by Jason Reitman, who is the son of Ivan Reitman, who directed the original Ghostbusters. So
Not to turn this into a Ghostbusters podcast. I guess it's kind of what I'm doing. It's one of those things I don't understand why it is a franchise in some ways. Like the first one, I think is really good. I remember liking the second one, but I haven't watched it in forever. I've not seen it as much as the first one. After that, I'm like, did we need more Ghostbusters? Was it something that really warranted like any? And you can say that. You can obviously say that about any movie, but like I understand why you need more Star Wars. Like I can understand why you need more Marvel stuff. I understand why like you might want more Power Ranger stuff. What was it about Ghostbusters that after the second one, because that's like, okay, you're making a sequel to a comedy. That's a popular thing to do. After the second one, did we ever like? We need to?
We had an animated Ghostbusters series too, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a cartoon.
I
the real
watched that
Ghostbusters.
Cartoon was dope.
Yeah, I think Slimer was much different in
Slimer
the
was
cartoon.
was their friend.
Yeah. He
Yeah,
was.
yeah. And in the movie, he was more like, some kind of aggressive ghost that was just rummaging through anything and everything. You know what I mean? So it's like a rabid dog, essentially.
And I'm gonna say the cartoon is probably why we end up with all this stuff, because it made us like our age, especially kids, like it kind of made kids more into that. Whereas if it had stayed just a adult comedy, it would have just kind of went off and done its own thing.
I think maybe they probably thought that they could make like money off of like the merchandise, like toys and such, like
absolutely.
Transformers, Power Rangers, and all that stuff. That's where a lot of like these franchises get their money from. It's just like banking on the fact that they
And
can.
It's none of these things have done well. That's the thing that I don't understand. Like the in terms of like what you expect out of a franchise, like they must just be killing it on merch, because
I think
none
so.
of the movies have performed at a place where it makes you think like, why are we still making Ghostbusters movies? Like after the first one, like none of them really made a lot of money.
Well, here's why, Josh. Because for the like you said, you got your merchandise and stuff. But I mean, when people hear the Ghostbusters song, they
that is
the song is dope.
It's dope.
Like,
it draws at your heartstrings, right? When we go to Comic-Con every year, what do we see? We see a gigantic 500-foot tall Stay Puffed and people dressed up like Ghostbusters from 40 years ago still. And
it's good marketing.
Yeah, I mean, so like people still have that affinity for it. And like my daughter hasn't watched any Ghostbusters, I don't believe, but eventually one day I'm sure I'll watch it with her, and she's probably going to be more into the newer stuff than the older ones, but like it. So that's
don't allow
why.
that.
I mean, I don't know.
try to
teach her to stay on the classics, so
And you can't.
You've done a pretty good job so far.
You can't like throw out like who you're gonna call without somebody saying like Ghostbusters.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
she does
those
that.
types of things. Yeah.
So that's why we have it, because as soon as we hear that song, we're like, damn, it's been 20 years since we had a Ghostbusters. We should do another one, and then this where it goes.
I'm good on Ghostbusters. Okay, I'm done. I'm not going to say Ghostbusters again.
We're done. We're done talking about Ghostbusters. Probably not, but let's move on. Okay, the casting of this movie. I think they nailed it for the most part.
I think so.
I think David Duchovny is a really good choice. I do find it kind of interesting that he decided to take this role, just because I remember it being like a kind of a big deal. He left the X-Files. He was the only reason, really. Him and Scully were the reason to watch the X-Files, and it sucked when he left. But to wanting to branch out and, kind of move away from that show and show he had range, and he chose to be a scientist in an alien movie.
A hand model and a scientist in an alien movie.
In the same year. But I think, his kind of deadpan delivery works really well as a counterpart to Orlando Jones being this huge personality. And Orlando Jones, why has he not had a bigger career?
I don't know. I really feel like in everything that I've seen him in, I'm pretty sure the Replacements came out in 2000, right?
Yeah,
or
the Replacements was like 99 or 2000, I believe.
That's like one of my
movie.
favorite movies. I feel like it like fits into that like cult classic, category.
Absolutely.
And like he was in Everybody Hates Chris. He was in like so many other movies like Mad TV. Well, not Mad TV is not a movie, but some other things that I feel like he is a really good actor to have only had such small roles, or not memorable roles. Like I feel like he, should have.
I feel like
I was looking. Oh, sorry.
No, go. So the Replacements did come out in 2000. He makes this as well. 2001. He also does the movie with Eddie Griffin, which was like another action comedy, Double Take. So he's like starting to cook, but at this time too, he's the spokesperson for 7-Up, and he's making all the 7-Up commercials.
Yeah.
And I truly
so he was eating good on that.
I truly believe all the 7-Up stuff is why he didn't do as many movies, because he was probably in demand for all the different episodes. I mean, I remember distinctly him talking about the calendar men for 7-Up with the guys in the mermaid costume and the beach and the net and stuff,
Yeah,
So-
like I think the slogan or something was like "Make 7-Up yours."
Make 7-Up yours, yeah.
They say if you want to sell your product, get a cute little dog for your commercial. Here, Buster, fetch the 7-Up.
Oh, Buster's sleepy. Drink it when you wake up, little friend.
Well, and we've talked about this before on the show, where it used to be like, because now we're used to seeing actors in commercials a lot, but that wasn't the case when this was when he was making movies. It was unique for actors, even like actors of his level. It's not like he was like an A-lister, but like he was a recognizable face.
Yeah.
And to be like, and they were, I guarantee he was making more money from 7-Up commercials than any of the movies he was.
Probably,
I 100%.
I still think he missed his boat with Joanna Man. I think he should have been Joanna Man. I think he would have crushed it.
Oh yeah.
But
was it a movie? I'm sorry, Bedazzled, right? He was in that.
I love Bedazzled. That's one
Oh
of
my gosh, man! When he like goes off camera and he comes back with the coke on his nose. Love that.
I love Orlando Jones. There's like not a movie that he's in that I don't enjoy his performances. So
I was looking through his filmography earlier, and the last thing I've even heard of that he was in was The Time Machine, which came out the next year in 2002, the remake of The Time Machine. I remember watching that, but after that, none of these movies. It's all
I've not watched American Gods. It's one of those shows that I did want to watch, and I guess I can go. It looks like it's on Tubi now, so I think it was on like Showtime or something when it ran. So I never saw it, but he's apparently really good in that show.
Yeah, like a very like memorable moment. Like it really like grabs you. You have to listen to this guy and what he's talking about. Because he's like basically feeling the slaves on the way to America and onto what's about to happen. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like he's basically giving them that weight that they're going to basically face once they get to America, and it's moving in my opinion, man. Like it gives you goosebumps type of performance.
Nice.
I want to shout out Allison for continuing our streak of sex pests getting brought into the show. I'm glad we could extend that. Neil Gaiman.
Yeah.
We're on like 10 episodes in a row of references to material made by people who may or may not have done very bad things. Mostly did bad things.
But I think, to get back to Orlando Jones, who's not a sex pest from what I've read, thankfully, but it's not just that he's funny. I also find him kind of believable as a professor. He carries himself in a certain way. There's a couple of times when it seemed like they're trying to make him kind of a horn dog, but not really.
Ooh.
Like when he's talking to that blonde student, and at first you think it's going to go into something sexual, but then he's being very serious until Duchovny walks in, and he was like, "Oh, did you already eat?" Like, I guess, okay, cunnilingus, I guess. And then he gets kind of, and I'm like, they do that a couple of times, but
Allison's fixing to get canceled over here because I'm pretty sure he was trying to fuck her.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like he was probably putting on, like, I'm with Alice, and I feel like he was putting on since David Duchovny's character came in, like he was putting on a performance. You know what I mean?
That's how it came across to me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because
he's very serious. I don't know.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
She's like, "Oh, I need to get into nursing school," and he's like, "Can't you do it?" I don't know. Like the conversation doesn't have that weird undertone until David Duchovny comes in.
Right, yeah. She was trying to be like persuasive by being provocative to try to get like a better grade. And like he was trying to have that serious talk and trying to like help navigate her in what field she might, specialize in. But then David Duchovny comes in, seeing them two together, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we were about to, but let's go do what you're gonna do." Type
Y'all
stuff.
being generous here.
Yeah. I think you want me to rewatch that scene because I don't know about that one.
No, and then later on in the diner when Seann William Scott, he's like, "Oh, do you get to watch the girls shower?" And he completely deadpan is just like, "Well, yeah, sometimes I shower with them." And that it never comes up again, but it's clear that he's just like, "God, this guy's such a fucking idiot. I'm just gonna tell him something that's hurt."
See, no, I think he really does shower with him because he's a horn
This is
dog.
interesting. I'm taking.
No.
I'm in lane with Slate here, and that's how I was completely reading that.
Watching
too,
this
like,
movie now, I was like, this movie does not age well with all the sexual jokes. It's not good.
I think he is all bark and no bite, especially around Duchovny's character, and I think that's what they bring out in each other.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it does make
Malcolm, I'm so glad you're here.
it does make sense, like in that aspect when he's like, for some reason, women just open their shirts to him. Like he's amazed.
It may be like because you know how some friends are like influential when it comes to like certain like I don't know characteristics of certain people. You might act a certain way with this friend or act a certain way with that friend. That may be like the dynamic between him and Ira essentially. So,
but he's the one that's egging Ira on when he's like, all she needs is a good humping, bro.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's part of the.
That was funny.
It's all part of that.
And then they notice they like both of them look down immediately at her when she falls over, and they notice like the pantyhose, and then he's where are they at? Where the woman walks by, and the first thing he does is look at her ass, and like he's a horn dog, man. I don't like.
Yeah, even like he was like seeing like the alien walk away and just talking about like it having like a big rump,
that's the kind of trunk you want in a late model sedan.
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny.
Oh. All right. So Seann William Scott as Wayne. I mean,
Wayne Gray.
Wayne Gray. I have such a soft spot for him.
Same.
And even though I feel like he plays Stifler in most things.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say that no one else could have done this role, but I was happy he was in this movie because I just generally appreciate when he shows up and stuff.
He oddly brings, in some ways, maybe weirdly the most name recognition for a lot of people, like to this movie. I bet at least what they were trying for. It obviously didn't work, but
for me,
I'm sure they were trying to catch a lot of that American Pie people.
For me, at the time in 2001, like that was like, oh, that's that movie with Stifler with the aliens, right? Like,
yeah.
And I love anytime he's at the country club and having to do just some grunt shit work, maybe laugh. But when his boss gets killed by the alien and he's kind of being like, my douchebag boss died, and he's like trying to contain his glee.
Yeah. Not that was good or anything.
Yeah.
So he said something along those lines.
Oh, Ted Levine. It's so interesting to anytime he shows up in something and looking at his face and then just remembering Silence of the Lambs and him tucking and then doing the "Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me." But he has such an incredible voice.
I would have liked to seen him doing that as the general. That'd have been.
Yeah.
And this would have been the kind of the maybe the only time they could have pulled that out again, and maybe it worked.
That could have been an amazing outtake.
But he's so much like bigger and beefier here.
Yeah.
But Silence of the Lambs came out in what 90?
10 years
91?
before.
About 10 years
yeah,
before, yeah. Which is weird because it feels like it was 20 years before. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then Julianne Moore as Dr. Allison Reed, much better suited here than to the role of Clarice Starling. But I don't know. I think she's okay here. And then after watching this movie, I was like, do I like Julianne Moore?
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder myself.
I keep saying like, I don't think she works here, and I'm like, is it the movie or is it her?
She's the Russell Crowe of female actresses.
There we go.
She might,
Here
honestly, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do they have to make her clumsy? Like, why does she
I
have
did
to
not
trip and
understand
fall
that.
over stuff and walk into doors? It's not even funny. It's just pointless.
That's what I thought. Like, it's like, I understand, like, if you want to try to have a slapstick character, but one is, yeah, I'm agree. I don't think it's ever really funny when it happens with her. And also, it kind of just goes away after the first couple times. It's like,
until she
establish
walks
this
into a
as
door
like
in the hotel.
Like, that was the funniest part. Like, that was the funniest time it happened, in my opinion. But yeah, it's just such a weird character trait.
It's like they're trying to shorthand show you that no, she's not an ice queen.
Yeah.
By making her clumsy, but it's such an overused trope.
Yeah, I think
Anyway,
they're trying to
but-
make her like look cute in a way, but by like her being more clumsy, so that I guess their Ira's attraction to her is like kind of like warranted in a sense, like him coming this suave dude helping this like stern clumsy woman, you know what I mean? So I don't know, that's what I got from it at least.
See, for me, I just thought that her challenging him, being smarter and like outwitting him, or like being more brashful towards him, like challenging him in ways that other women never have, would have been like the thing that I thought would have been the attraction there.
Yeah, I think that if they'd played that up more, it would have been a better dynamic between them. Not that I don't think their dynamic's bad. Actually, they are pretty good coupling in terms of that. They have good chemistry.
My favorite part is her on the elevator when he says, like, "Do you think you could be attracted to me?" And she's like, "Smart."
Yeah.
She's like,
Yeah,
right.
I
That's
was
like
just
the
thinking of
best
that.
part of her. Is that scene right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they have good chemistry, but I think what's weird to me though is that is that scene we referenced earlier where they're talking about, you know, giving her a good humping, like they're talking about her like as like she's this sexy, or at least Orlando Jones is talking about her as like a sexy, like
smoldering temptress
woman. I don't think of her as like a real sexy woman in this movie, or really in general, like outside of this movie. Like, I think she's a pretty woman, but I don't think of Julianne Moore like this like sex symbol thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Can I tell you a completely unrelated side story, Slate, when you mentioned that exchange in the elevator?
Sure.
It reminded me of so I used to share an office with this young coworker. She's like 10 years younger than me, very attractive, very smart, and we had this intern who was inappropriate, but basically blamed the fact that he wasn't born in America, even though he's lived here a long time. It was just like, oh, I don't understand your weird cultural things that are happening. So he would just, and it was like he had never been taught how to interact with human beings. But he would always come up and ask strange questions of people. But one time we'd all gone to lunch and she was apparently in the office by herself. And she said he came up and was like, oh, you know, you read books? Because she had a book on her desk. She's like, yes, I read books. And then he told her that he found her to be the most aesthetically pleasing person in the office. To which she said, so what did you bring for lunch?
He said, it's just a fluid exchange, correct? Like, you know.
Right. That's what that exchange in the elevator reminds me of. It's just like, oh God, I'm just not going to answer the question.
What did you bring for lunch?
Oh my God. And then I was fully prepared to be annoyed when Dan Aykroyd showed up, but honestly.
He's great.
I think he
Yeah.
works here. I think
I
he's
think
very
so.
funny. His energy is deployed appropriately. And I was actually laughing out loud at some of the stuff when he was like, "Somebody take this bag of ugly steaks and lay them out straight for me." And I was like, what a dumb line. I love it. All right, Slate, you want to talk about special effects?
Yeah, I do. I'm curious what your all's thoughts on the special effects were in this film.
In my opinion, I thought they were good. I didn't think they were like an eyesore by any means. I think actually when it came to like the practical effects, like the ape-like creatures, I think I would have preferred them to be more of like the other aliens. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like CGI essentially. So
yeah, I mean, practically even the one that Seann William Scott brings in, like that's at this point like a puppet or whatever that's laying on the desk. They've got the grass in the teeth from where he fell over. Like they do pay some attention to detail here.
right.
But Alice and Josh, obviously we dealt with this in Jurassic Park and other films like Swordfish and other movies that had some really bad CGI. What did you guys think?
It's a mixed bag. Some of it still holds up reasonably well, and I personally love anytime they're using actual puppets, like you said, and you can really see and there's light hitting it, and you can see the detail. There were a couple of like Jurassic Park 3 type green screen situations where you're like, oh, they're just standing in front of like a painting, essentially. But I mean, we just watched The Mummy Returns, and there is going to be nothing that we watch this year that is as bad as that movie.
Ever. There's going to be nothing ever.
Ever.
Literally
that
ever.
really made me reconsider the bar in some ways, and also I can acknowledge like when CGI is bad, but I'm also anymore I try to be. I'm less forgiving to it if I know a movie like costs like $300 million, because I'm like, where the fuck did the money go? And this looks like this,
right?
But something like this, when it's for its time a mid-budget movie, if you did inflation, like this movie would have cost like $150 million or close to $200 million. It was weird to think about this movie costing that much, but I think they're pretty good for the most part. I mean, it is like, I don't know that any of it ages well except for the practical stuff. And I kind of almost I understand what you're saying, Malcolm. I prefer the practical primate to if it had been CGI, but it doesn't. I think what's weird about it is it looks so much different from all the other aliens. Like
that's what exactly. They took a big leap from like now we have full-fledged dinosaurs to primates when they had just really like we have single cell, multi-cell, flatworms, and then
it was weird because you're waiting on like my next step when they're evolving into primates was like, all right, cool, so like we're gonna see the humanoid version of this, at some point.
If it'd been like a reptilian human kind of thing, it would have felt like it fit in better. I think that's a good observation.
But me personally, I really enjoyed the special effects. Honestly, in the sense that I think that while it doesn't hold up to the effects that we're going to see later in that god-awful Lord of the Rings movie and Harry Potter films, I think it does some stuff really well. And I think that they had a good mix and blend, but they don't really take you out of it. Like especially at the beginning when they're down in the crater and like all the ecosystems growing and you see all these different life forms and everything. The dinosaur, if you will, that's in the mall and that whole sequence. Even in the bonus episode or the bonus scenes that weren't in the movie, like there's a sequence where the dinosaur picks up a dude and like flips him over, and that was like really well done. I thought that they did a really good job interacting with the CGI and making it feel like that character is there and that it is working the way they're, using pulleys and levers to flip people over and the effects that go with that. One thing that I'll say about Greg Nicotero is that like he's got a thing to him. Like even in Walking Dead, the special effects aren't always the best, but he does something with even like the lower budget to where you can make it believable enough and it doesn't like take you out of it. Because I mean there's a lot, like every time they killed Walker in the first like 3 seasons. It's clearly CGI, you know, and you're like, but it wasn't like enough to make you hate the show. And it feels like he's always done a really good job with that type of thing. So I just enjoyed it. I thought, considering that, you know, you've got The Mummy Returns with a much bigger budget and you were able to do this with that,
And
speaks volumes.
I think kind of when I'm thinking about, you know, Jurassic Park 3 and The Mummy Returns and then this movie, and they each have kind of a different bar, I guess. So in Jurassic Park 3, they want to, like, Jurassic Park established these dinosaurs look so real, and the whole movie is trying to make it feel like this is really something that happened. So when it's dodgy, you're just like, it really pulls you out of the movie.
Absolutely.
With The Mummy Returns, as they're trying to do this grand
trying to remake the first movie.
Trying to remake the first one, which had some genuinely cool effects, and everything looks like fucking hot flaming garbage. But this movie is not a serious movie. They established that from the get-go. It's silly. So the dodgy CGI doesn't really pull me out of it because it's kind of the flavor of the whole movie.
That definitely helps in terms of how you take it in, I think. Because I do think it's weird. The effects of that movie, I'm not going to name again, probably in some ways are better than this in some ways for the time, if you're just kind of comparing it time period to time period. But I still think I'm with you. Largely, I'm not taking out even, except that last scene where they blow up the alien and the goop is falling. Like, that looks like, you know, like Nickelodeon,
when they clearly switched from like CGI to the practical one so he could go up into it. I was like, that looks like they hung a curtain right there with a hole in it.
But also, like, I call that out as something that kind of is goofy, but also, like, it doesn't like make me affect how I think it's you know, I notice it, but it's also like I'd still so much rather, to me it's like it's more fun watching a movie like that where it kind of ebbs and flows between like that kind of thing versus whatever it is we get now where it's just pure CGI mess. You know, you're going to get all of that is CGI in 2026 if this movie gets made, and it just, I don't know, there's something more, you feel that they were making a movie more in this one versus what you see a lot of times now, and I appreciate that.
And the creature design is really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, they come up with a lot of weird, interesting looking creatures. The one that's like a centipede that has heads on either side.
Yeah, it's like, is it coming or going?
There's some gnarly stuff.
It reminded me of, there's a old Simpsons Treehouse of Horror that it parodies The Fly, where they built the chamber and the dog and the cat go in at the same time, and then the cat dog creature comes out and they're like, oh wow,
Nickelodeon turned it into a show.
The two butts come out and they're like, oh my god, who would ever want that animal? But let's go into like some of my favorites. There's so many like little lines throughout this movie that I think are really, really good.
Do you want to talk about the alternate ending that we haven't got into yet? You've got that in the notes before the lines. I don't want to skip over.
I think let's do it after the lines because it is the ending, and I think more context on Orlando Jones's character helps clarify what I think about that ending.
For sure.
But when they're talking to the general, and because he knows Ira, but he doesn't know Harry, and he says something Mr. Black. The look on his face, he's like, block.
It reminds me of Zach and Miri make a porno, and he's like, "Can I get a coffee?"
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Can't you see me talking? White.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
And then the same David. I guess that's really David Duchovny's ass. I couldn't really find if it was a stunt butt, but it appears to be his. He says fruit basket for General Woodman. He's like mooning him on the way out.
That sequence before, that was the one part where I was not necessarily a huge fan of Duchovny's performance, when he's like, you know, we'll make sure to keep you in the loop or whatever, and they're throwing a fit about it or whatever, and he was like, we've got jurisdiction here, we were here first. And he says something about protocols, and like Duchovny grabs his nuts and he's like, I got protocol right here for you. It was like, really, it was just a weird overreaction that didn't fit the scene the way he delivered it. And I was like, I don't know. It just took me out for a minute.
I love that Harry brings his class out there to basically, It's a field trip. Nobody touch anything.
I love the two brothers too.
You're right.
We're talking about their notes with their cells are bad. My uncle lives in a cell, and he has to read the same crappy magazine every day. Are you talking about our paragraphs? He's like, yes, I am, and unfortunately, while my standards aren't nearly as high as they used to be, I still couldn't give you guys an A. I'm sorry. They're excited about a C-. Oh, it's good.
That's a pre-weight loss Ethan Suplee, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then the other guy, at first I thought he was the guy who plays Farva in Super Troopers.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, wow.
He plays, it's not. He's the guy who plays Donkey Lips in Salute Your Shorts.
Never even heard of that movie.
Oh my god!
It's Salute Your Shorts. It's a TV show, Nickelodeon.
It's a Nickelodeon show from.
You definitely have seen it. There's no way you haven't seen it.
Well, if Josh has seen it and you haven't, I've
Salute
just
Your
figured you'd tell me it was because
it kind of was like it was like part of like the Hey Dude package. It would air a lot.
I
Hey
never
Dude.
watched Hey Dude. I don't know.
Missed out, bro.
I don't know.
Yeah, I missed out on the Hey Arnold and
Hey Arnold was my
Rocket
shit.
Power and all that stuff. Like, we didn't have cable, so I just watched Doug and Recess and stuff like that came on, regular basic television. Fox
Big
Kids
Recess.
and
I
WB
love
Kids.
Recess.
Doug was great.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Doug was great. I did love Rocket Power and Hey Arnold, though. Those were my jam.
That's what I hear, man. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm trying to
revisit.
I don't know if I. Go ahead.
I said revisit them. I think you dig them.
That's what I was wondering. Would it hit for me like it did for kids back then, or can I just say that I've watched it and so I can relate essentially to a degree? So
I honestly think you dig them. I think you
so?
would. If you liked Doug, I think you would dig them. If you like Rugrats,
I think Hey Arnold especially holds up really well.
There's a lot of really good life lessons in Hey Arnold.
Okay, cool. It's on Paramount, right? All that stuff.
Yeah. Nickelodeon fodder.
Cool.
You can get the DVD for a lot of that stuff for real cheap too. Like the complete series of all that stuff is I noticed Angry Beavers was on sale this week for $10.
Angry Beavers, damn.
We didn't have cable growing up for most of my life, but we had basic or I guess we did have cable, but it was basic. Well, we stole cable. And,
that was his real life hack. He just didn't want to tell anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Cable and the basic cable at that point, Nickelodeon was the only kids channel. It was 20 channels, and Nickelodeon was one of the 20 channels.
Josh, I remember when we got cable. I was in the 5th grade, and it was such a big deal.
Yeah, for you youngins that may or may not be listening to this podcast,
back
in the day, there used to be a box, and you would hook that up and you would have cable. But also, the box had a little card that you could put into it. And if you knew somebody who worked at the cable company, they would give you an illegal card that gave you every channel.
You could also wire, if you had cable, literal cables, cords. You could splice them long enough to someone else's house and run it from their house to your house.
So those are actually the answers to the first question at the beginning of this podcast.
The things you learn when you're poor.
Okay. But anyway, when I think Duchovny and Orlando Jones are such a great pairing throughout this movie, and
fantastic.
they just work great in every scene. But when they go back, their results and everything's been stolen, so we got to go back and get some samples so we can keep working on it. And them sneaking in, and Duchovny's dressed as the general, and Orlando Jones is the private. Just don't be getting used to this, man.
Tuck your shirt.
Sure did.
But when they put those suits on and they go in the elevator, and that lady's like, "Oh, is there a an experiment about to happen?" And it cuts to the camera, and Orlando Jones is just dancing, but you can't hear the sound. You can just see him dancing. It's little moments like that that I think make this movie really fun.
That must be the guys from Sector 12,
You know how those guys are. But yeah, then we meet all the weird alien creatures. We meet the one with the, late model. You want a trunk like that in a late model sedan, where it's just alien that's just a huge ass.
Yeah.
Basically. Oh, I remember this being a line in the trailer when Duchovny's like, ooh, snag it. And he goes, "I've seen this movie, the black dude dies first."
Yeah, I remember that.
And I feel like that was the first time I had kind of seen that trope referenced in kind of a meta way.
Yeah, probably so.
But And that brings us to what is probably the best known scene from this movie,
Absolutely.
which is where a little dragonfly mosquito creature cuts into Harry's suit. And it's flying around. And they were like, oh, turn up your oxygen, it'll kill it. And obviously the creature's like, I gotta get away from this oxygen, so what does it do? Goes up his ass. And
Gotta survive.
Cutting to him on his stomach on that gurney, and they're like yelling and bringing him into the hospital, and oh my god, I think the effect of the bug under his skin is pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good too.
And it was also the trailer line of, take the leg. Oh no, it's heading to your testicle. Take the leg. But the line that I actually is kind of lesser known, but I think is really funny, is Duchovny goes, can you do anything else? He thinks he's an athlete.
I don't know. I love Orlando Jones's performance in that, because it's very over the top, but also like spot on perfectly. Probably how I would react if my testicles were on the line.
Of course, the doctor goes in with like an enormous metal something or other.
Duchovny says, "You took it. You should have seen how big that thing was."
You took it like a man.
You took it like a man. Oh man.
Hey, you want to like ice cream afterwards or something?
Yeah,
that's my favorite line.
She's like, so, can we get you anything? He goes, ice cream. Oh, okay. What flavor? Doesn't matter. It's for my ass.
It's weird. Julianne Moore like completely breaks character from what she's been in the whole movie in this sequence. She's like, it's like
you could do it. She's like coaching him.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
It's weird. It is weird. Like, she is like a completely different character in this scene versus the rest of the movie. And I think I would have liked her better in the movie, like if she was just kind of this character the whole time in some ways.
It is nice to see her like get in on the humor, because she doesn't strike me as a funny person, but she has some funny stuff that she does in this movie that's not physical comedy. Instead of her falling over, she does do some funny stuff. So.
Yeah, I don't mind slapstick. It's just I don't think the stuff she does, other than like, I think it is kind of funny just because you're not expecting it when she runs into the wall, like, or the door. But like the other stuff is just like she fell and dropped all her shit. Like
Duchovny goes, that woman is a menace.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, she drops the papers. I don't know.
I do like, is it when she does that they're like a garter in the daytime, or like, or in the,
garter
or something
belt.
like a garter belt.
So if you watched the video I sent earlier, which shows you the alternate ending, but it shows you the other deleted scenes. Sarah Silverman shows up in a cameo, basically at the diner as David Duchovny's his ex, and they get into that fight, which I actually found very funny. When she's just like, you want your shirt? I'll give you your shirt. And she's about to like strip off in the diner. But yeah, there's a whole scene of her leaving him that was supposed to be at the beginning of the movie to kind of establish that relationship. I'm like, yeah, I don't think you needed it.
No, I honestly think the scenes that you sent us that they cut were all cut for the right reasons. Just like they did everything that they did in the deleted scene in the bedroom when she's coming out of the shower in the robe and everything. They did it much better and quicker and efficiently and more tastefully in just the elevator sequence with him, running into her in the lobby. So,
yep, I agree.
Yeah, I will say I was kind of hoping Sarah Silverman's shirt would come off. I'm not going to lie. I was with Seann William Scott.
And now Josh is going to get canceled.
But we haven't talked about when Ira gets deposed, and we find out, because you've got all these insinuations that he was a government scientist and he's really, really smart. And what is he doing at this like shitty community college? Clearly just giving everybody an A on their test except for the poor brothers. But that he invented an anthrax vaccine.
That's pretty 2001 too, right?
Yeah, that was pretty. When that first came up, I was like, whoa!
Yeah. This movie came out before 9/11 too.
Like 2 months, right? Or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, I would have argued that that would have won the award for the most 2001 thing about this movie until I rewatched it and realized immediately in the first scene we've got a Buckcherry sighting. So having Buckcherry play as the very first song of the movie has got to win the most 2001 thing about this film.
I saw Buckcherry.
Of course you
open,
did.
Buckcherry and Fuel open for Kid Rock.
Oh God, this.
It was either the year 2000 or 2001.
Were you at a Republican convention, Alice?
Oh yeah.
Isn't Buckcherry from Kentucky? Am I making that up? Who am I thinking? No,
Cage
they're
the
not
Elephant.
from Kentucky, are they? Cage the Elephant. That's who I'm thinking of. And much different band. Much different band.
Buckcherry and Kid Rock will be next year's Turning Point halftime show.
Buckcherry only had 2 albums?
Yeah, they didn't. They were like a supernova. They burned bright and exploded pretty quick.
That's what I was
about
gonna
it.
say.
They died young.
Yeah.
And then they came out and their biggest song was after they reformed with different people.
That sounds about right.
Crazy bitch.
Yeah. Crazy bitch. Okay. Anyway, the whole point of the courtroom scene is to establish that he's a disgraced scientist and the extremely bad side effects that came from this vaccine of, at first it starts off as like, oh, upset stomach and diarrhea, facial paralysis, memory loss, but they called it the cane madness.
I mean, it sounds like one of those commercials nowadays, man, where like, you know, it might cost this, might cost that, like tingling in your fingers and all this other stuff. I mean, you know, it's no different than today, really.
Yeah.
I love pharmaceutical commercials where they're speaking those side effects really fast, and then you
Mm.
hear them say, or death. And you're like, Jesus Christ.
Who died?
As we talked about, the Tuki Tuki is the bird call in the mall. I love that they go, where did they get these shotguns? But they have price tags on them. They've just like they've gone into a Walmart and taken shotguns
Yeah,
off
there's
the
a
shelf.
hunting store in the mall or something.
2001 was a different time.
Absolutely was.
But Seann William Scott thinks that he can call this bird dinosaur thing back. And like, I didn't find him funny doing that, but it's worth it for Harry looking at him and saying, I think we've established that cacaw and tookie
Don't work.
don't work.
And then he keeps doing something, and David Duchovny says something about taking him out, and Orlando
He's
Jones
just
like,
all right,
I got
that's
this
it.
one
Get out of the way.
myself."
I'm going to shoot him.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
And then he starts singing, and it works.
I also love that the dinosaur creature thing is basically like knocking on the door of this girl who's shopping.
Yeah.
That is so Jurassic Park 3, I'm telling you, man. Straight out
She
of
like opens the door and it's like, one of the criticisms or complaints that I kind of see online about this movie is people are like, oh, that was the longest Head and Shoulders commercial ever. Ugh, product placement. And I was like, this is an example of where I think it absolutely works for this movie.
It's funny.
And I mean, they're like, they have that, the brothers have that line where they know what selenium sulfate is because it's in their shampoo, and they're like, don't you notice our hair is so shiny and flake free? Which is still funny.
Yeah.
But then like later, I'm like, they're shooting this product into an alien's asshole. And do we really think that Procter and Gamble were like, hell yeah, what a great showcase for our product?
Right.
You know?
And it's one of those things too where I think, regardless whether it was something they put together for the movie to kind of help finance it or not, it works because it's funny.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny. I think it's so weird. I think it's weird that people get hung up on that stuff sometimes. Like, I get it if it's like egregious, like if it just feels like you have an example here that you'll get to, but like that was something back when the 2017 Power Rangers movie came out. It was like there was a big Krispy Kreme partnership when that came out. And people bitched about that like it's something that was like weird towards the end of the movie. And all it is like, you know, there's some shots of them doing something towards the end where like the thing they're looking for, the Zeo crystal, is like hidden under, buried under the Krispy Kreme. Like, and it's kind of funny. Like, it's just like, why do you care so much? And people go on about wanting this shit to be realistic. They're like, why they can't even make this realistic? Well, fucking, you know what? Real life has Krispy Kreme.
Right. It's like
Head and Shoulders.
I think people had a problem with. I think it's the 4th Transformers movie with Mark Wahlberg, and it was like a Bud Light truck or something like that exploded, and so it's like Bud Light everywhere, and people act like that was like just like a big commercial for Bud Light or something. So, yeah, they had a problem with that as well.
And it is to a degree, like it is, like, but also like y'all, like you can't have it both ways. You can't want $200 million movies that cost like so much money to make,
right,
and not expect that, because the alternative is Transformers cost $125. Like Bud Light probably paid $10 million or $20 million to be in that movie. Like that's like you'll never report that, but like that's part of what you're signing up for. And we can go back and forth on that stuff all the time, but like when you're making stuff like that, you have to find ways to finance it. Like that's just the reality.
Well, not only that, but when that doesn't fit, like say if you don't get the Bud Light sponsorship, it's going to be a blue and white truck that looks exactly like Bud Light, and it's going to read Buddy's beer, and then you're going to be like, that's stupid. Well, it's a Bud Light truck, bro. So like, you want it to be realistic.
You can't win.
Yeah, you can't win because even like Coke or Pepsi, and they'll do like a fake version of it, and it just takes you out of the movie.
Yeah, you're like, I was clearly Coke. Why didn't you show it?
Yeah.
Like,
or I think phones is the big thing. You can tell whenever they haven't gotten permission to do like an iPhone or something, and it kind of looks like the iPhone screen, but not really.
The text
it's like
blue.
iCarly or Nickelodeon. They had like the pear instead of the apple.
Yeah,
like the pear pod.
Or like the Grand Theft Auto games. Like the fruit phones.
Yeah.
Like they always do a really good job.
And some of that's fun because
fun.
It's like satire a little bit. Like that's a different thing. But yeah, as far as this, like, I think this is good. Like, I think this is great product placement.
And it's, I'm sure it gets them some name recognition. It's used in I mean, I don't think it hurt them. Maybe it did help their sales, but it works for this movie. 100%. And meanwhile, like literally, I watched the show High Potential. It's got Caitlin Olsen, aka Sweetie from It's Always Sunny on it. And it's just kind of a fun, cute little procedural show that I'll turn my brain off and watch every week. And the episode this week, it literally, the script stops and they're looking at all this data on a computer, and the character it sounds like she's reading from a teleprompter. And she's just like, oh, I can use Microsoft Copilot and organize all this. Look, I can color code, blah, 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 blah. And it's like a 30-second ad read of Copilot and how it's helping her like organize this information. And I'm like, now this is fucking gross.
Yeah.
You could have like had her working in it and had the logo or something in the corner and made it more subtle. But I was when it gets into like you're writing it into the script and it sounds so unnatural, that's where I have a problem with it.
Right. And the fact that it's like an active ingredient in the shampoo in the movie, like if it's really an active ingredient in the shampoo, then like
it is.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what makes it fun. It's for instance, it would be no different than if somebody is dealing with like a corrosion issue or whatever, and a main character's like, "Man, just pour some Coke on that some bitch." And it really happens.
Well, and it's funny. It's also funny. It serves the two, quote unquote, the dumbest characters in the movie are the ones that
figure it out,
end up saving.
Know that that's there.
Yeah, comes full circle. Okay, so the alternate ending of this movie. Now, I feel like the whole movie we've established that we're rooting for Harry, and he clearly does not enjoy having the alien up his ass, and like it's so the alternate ending is you see Duchovny in a hospital. He goes up to Julianne Moore, who's pregnant, and then a doctor walks up, and the doctor's talking about a pregnancy, and there's some issues, and you think it's about her. Oh no, it's Harry, who is apparently pregnant inside of his ass.
Well, where else is it going to come out?
But the bulk, the growth is in the back instead of the front.
The truck you kind of want in a sedan.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he wakes up, and you think like, oh God, he thought it was just a dream. But then he gets out of bed, and actually he is pregnant in his ass. And I was like, no, this is not working for me whatsoever.
I think it could have worked as an extra piece to the credits, like an end credit scene.
Yeah.
If it had been a stinger or
Oh,
something.
no.
It's
I
just
think
funny.
it could have worked. It's just goofy.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they didn't use it as the ending just because they go back to the ass thing with the climax. Like they bring, they literally shove the
Yeah, he goes up the asshole himself. Yeah, you know.
So I think that's a better way to call back to it without beating you over the head with it.
What does he say whenever they pull him out? He's like, "You wouldn't believe the things I saw,"
Yeah.
or something like that. If Harry had some sort of sexual encounter with an alien and enjoyed it, and then was pregnant at the end, I could see that. But like the whole, again, maybe it's because I'm a woman and this is how I'm reading it. But like he was basically assaulted by this creature, and then for him to be pregnant by it at the end, I was just like, I think this is horrible.
Well, it doesn't make sense. It also doesn't make sense because they don't the way they
how quickly they populate.
Well, yeah, they don't even like repopulate
they don't need
that
to
way.
have gestation.
They're all what is it, mitosis or not?
Yeah. The science in this movie is very fast and loose.
Yeah.
And there was an article with the writers when someone was asking if they did any research, and their answer was basically like, "No, we just made up a bunch of shit."
I love that answer. I love it. You don't need no fucking science in a comedy. Go for it.
If you're like Christopher Nolan making Interstellar and it being accurate is a big part of the whole shebang, yes. For this movie, no.
So you're telling me the guy
Make
that
up whatever
works
you
at
want.
NASA and Wet Hot American Summer would not have been a fan of this movie.
All right. Any other major scenes, moments?
That about covers
Thoughts on
it
this
for me.
movie?
No, I enjoyed it. It's a good movie.
I loved it.
Yeah, it was a good watch.
Caught myself just cracking up at so many things in it. Even the moments where it's like the dry humor still works. The cameos as far as like the brothers was great. I love Seann William Scott's performance in it. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a very fun movie. It has a little bit of Austin Power vibes to it when they're like doing the military stuff. And they're in the military base. It just gives me like, Dr. Evil's lair with the volcano type vibes, but I loved it. I thought it was good.
As far as scenes, I did want to call out one last thing we hadn't really touched on. Is the opening scene with Seann William Scott and he's training to be a fireman. And that shit's pretty funny. Like I like, and that effect. It was interesting because I watched it on DVD and I was streaming it. It's on YouTube if you're listening to this. Well, at least it was at the time of recording on YouTube, available for free, like a straight, like a legal stream of it from the whoever owns it. I don't remember. And DreamWorks, I think, is the distributor. And that scene looks a lot better in the stream, but it's so funny when you're watching something because like there's other scenes where like it looks so much better on the DVD than like an HD stream. It's just like the nature of streaming, even though it can be HD, it can be. It's so much of it subject to how great your connection is to the server and how good your internet provider is being at the time, and it's just so weird watching something like that. But it is like it's crisper in HD than it's softer on the DVD. That scene is, but it's great. Like when the explosion comes in, and it's really funny, and also like the only time there's really like anything that feels harrowing until the very end of the movie, so it kind of bookends itself nicely.
It's that, and then the very end of the movie are the action scenes.
Mm-hmm. And I guess the Orlando Jones ass bug is kind of like,
This is why my notes are so late, because I was really struggling to kind of come up with something different or new to talk about. But I decided to go with, TV actors trying to transition into movies, which I know we've kind of talked about some on previous podcasts. But, given that Duchovny has been in movies for most of his career, he was actually apparently hired in part for this movie because he was in Beethoven, which I think Ivan Reitman directed.
The dog movie?
Yes, the dog movie. But I always think of him as a TV actor. I'm always going to think of him from the X-Files, and then I know he had some he had a hit with Californication,
Mhm.
you know, later on. And Orlando Jones, I remember him in Mad TV, and he's probably honestly best known for those 7-Up commercials aside from this. So they're kind of two TV actors really anchoring this movie. And it seemed like, you know, 25 years ago, the goal or the ideal was to transition from TV and go into film because, you know, TV was a lesser pursuit and TV actors weren't series actors was kind of, I think, the vibe back then, which seems to be almost the opposite now.
Yeah.
Given that every channel streaming platform has its own like limited series, prestige
Right.
TV. You know, we talked about Nicole Kidman. It goes back and forth now between shows and movies, and that really seems to be where a lot of like big name actors are heading. And meanwhile, the whole movie industry is struggling. Theaters are struggling, and there are no more quote unquote movie stars on the level of like Tom Cruise or Julia Roberts, like someone that you can just guarantee that their name on the poster means that the movie's going to make a ton of money, and like that is what they're known for. So I was kind of trying to come up with a list of people who've transitioned successfully, and you know, people who were on TV first, well established on TV, and not just that like everyone brings up Tom Hanks and Bosom Buddies, but I'm like, okay, he was on like one show, and was that show even that popular? Because to me, just because he was on that show doesn't make him like starting out as a TV actor, because he quickly went into movies, and that's what, you know.
Well, yeah, and if you're like bringing up stuff like that, it's almost everybody's going to fall into that category, you know, because everybody's been on something real small that you've never seen.
And even you know, my comfort watching as I'm in here sewing, so I always have TV going, and I'm not really watching it. It's just kind of like background noise while I'm, you know, working. Is I went and rewatched all of CSI, the original. And the number of like big name actors who had a like guest spot bit part on that show is crazy.
It's kind of like Law and Order.
Yep.
Yeah, and like with Law and Order too.
Yeah, it always felt like before they make it big, they would do cameos, like make their rounds on the ABC or CBS shows. It's like they would sign a studio deal to do 10 episodes for 8 different shows and have a one-part thing, and then that's how they would learn to politic with producers and everything else before they got into, you know, the movies part. So
yeah.
So when I was kind of thinking of my list, I also was like, I'm not going to consider anyone who's part of the Disney machine, because that whole thing is designed to create little multi-hyphenate superstars. So
yeah,
like,
you're talking about like all the Hannah Montanas and.
Well, even someone was like, someone brought up Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling.
Because he was on the Mickey Mouse Club.
Mickey Mouse Club,
yeah.
I recognize him from like Young Hercules back in the day. I don't know if y'all remember that show.
Young Hercules,
yeah. I've like watched that, Xena Warrior Princess, and actually like Kevin Sorbo Hercules as well. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
All right. So just when I was kind of thinking in my head and coming up with a list of people who went from TV to movies or even go back and forth seamlessly and successfully, Robin Williams, which I think is impressive given that he was really known for Happy Days and Mork and Mindy, and that's such a specific character. But then gets his first Oscar nomination for Good Morning Vietnam in 1987, and then just kind of continues to go back and forth and make blockbusters and get more accolades and Oscar nominations later.
Well, I love Robin Williams. Like he is the first celebrity that I really like was sad about dying was George Carlin, but Robin Williams is the first one where someone called me and I was like, I cried. Like I was like, because one, obviously, how it happened is a big part of that, but like, he was another one. Like I was like, man, like I love this guy, and for me, I didn't know about Mork and Mindy until long after, you know, because I grew up with Genie and the voice and watching him in movies, and I didn't know about Mork and Mindy until pretty late in my familiarity with getting to know him. You know, I didn't know that he'd started in TV for a long time before, you know. which speaks to like how well he was able to make that jump. Because that show, how Happy Days was huge,
Yeah.
and More Community was big too.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, I watched reruns of Happy Days all the time as a kid. It was one of my favorite shows. You know, I think it would come on USA a lot, and so we'd watch it a lot. And I remember like the first time that I saw him, you know, on Happy Days as Mork, I was like, "It's Mrs. Doubtfire," you know. Like, so that was cool. But yeah, I agree with you as far as like losing Robin Williams sucked because he just always seemed to just have such a positivity. He's like the poster boy for like, if like you could run into the happiest person that you think and not realize what they're going through. So it was a shock for everybody. I think nobody expected that.
And then next up, I think Will Smith has the career that everyone aims for. That everyone wants. And I do think it's impressive because Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was such a hit, so culturally relevant, and for him to actually break into becoming kind of a blockbuster, a true movie star, someone whose name's on the poster and you know it's going to make money,
right?
Is pretty impressive. And you know, too bad he's in the doghouse right now.
Yeah.
But we are going to see one of his great movies later this year, and we do Ali.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I think he might be the best. There's some other really huge people you've got listed here. I think he might be the best example of this though, because he's done really great like work, and like it's also been like the guy you're going to go see.
Let's not even forget he was a rapper and a musician.
Yeah, he was doing the other stuff too.
He just, you know, he took his song, turned it into a TV show, then turned the TV career into a movie career. Like
and then used the movie career to relaunch his music career.
Yeah,
with Men in Black.
yeah. He was making his own soundtracks for a minute, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Bruce Willis, who, you know, I never watched Moonlighting, but that was kind of the common thing, is like, oh, he was in Moonlighting with Sybil Shepherd, and this guy's going to be in an action movie. He's going to be in Die Hard. He doesn't seem like
not
he would fit,
a Christmas
but he's
movie.
Perfect.
Okay. Not a Christmas movie.
Anyway, I mean, Die Hard sends him into the stratosphere, basically, in terms of becoming kind of a well-known action hero. George Clooney.
Yeah.
Our Kentucky boy, George Clooney.
Augusta, who up?
Yep.
All three of you.
From the show ER to, you know, pretty much everything. Batman and Robin.
We don't talk about that.
There. Hey, Oh Brother Where Art Thou was one of my favorite movies. Like, it might be my favorite movie ever. So,
but no, he's an actor, director, producer. You know,
philanthropist.
I think you forgot. Did you? I didn't see it on your list earlier. Johnny Depp with 21 Jump Street.
21
Jump
Street.
Street. Yeah, Johnny Depp's another real good pull.
Yeah.
I was curious because you didn't list. I don't think you listed anybody here that was a sketch person, like the SNL people, but like to me, the first one looking at this list that came to mind immediately was Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
from In Living Color.
I thought about him. Yeah,
I was going to say like the Wayans brother, like as like a whole. You know,
yeah,
the
Wayans.
Like, they all started with In Living Color. Then,
Adam Sandler would be another really significant one if we're pulling from like. But I also understand, like, I can also see like a delineation because the sketch thing, at least, it's different. It's a little different. Like, I'm not gonna say it doesn't count, but like I can see like why you maybe would just not list any of that because it is a little different than just like a TV. Because a sketch show, even though you might have like a breakout sketch that like kind of becomes the thing you're known for, a TV show, if you're like in a really popular TV show, like a scripted TV show, that character is going to be something you're so associated with that it can be hard. Like, if Will Smith had not become a movie star, it might not have been shocking because that character was so significant in Fresh Prince that you could see why it might be hard to break out of that.
Right. Same thing with Martin.
Yeah, basically.
And then just a more, I guess, recent example is Chris Pratt, who being on Everwood, I think he was in the OC too, maybe, but just being known as Andy from Parks and Rec. And do y'all remember when you heard that he was cast as Star-Lord?
Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, Andy from Parks and Rec?
He was in, what's that, what was that movie with? It was what a curve to bullets. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
with,
Wanted.
Wanted.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
Angelina
He was like
Jolie.
the guy
Oh yeah,
that was
yeah,
in the
yeah. He's the
office got
office
smacked.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I got a few people here that like I've written down as far as like going from TV shows to movies like Michael B. Jordan starting in
The
The
Wire.
Wire
Yeah.
and then Friday Night Lights, and now I mean he honestly I feel like he's probably like the next Will Smith essentially.
He
You know,
is.
just like
Absolutely.
in all the
Like we lost Josh.
Yeah, he'll come back.
but as well as John Krasinski from The Office, like going from Jim and like writing and directing like
Directing
the
A
Quiet Place.
Yep.
Yeah, so let's see, and Bryan Cranston from Malcolm in the Middle and his Breaking Bad role, and now he's in a pretty decent amount of movies. Like he was in even voiced a character in Power Rangers, actually, like the Mighty Morphin, like one of the monsters, and people believe that like the character Billy Cranston was like named after Bryan Cranston essentially. So
And
like
he's also back in Malcolm in the Middle because they're doing a revival.
Yep.
yeah. We watched that yesterday, and I don't hate it to be
Nice.
honest.
Nice.
Yeah,
I haven't
so
checked that out yet, but yeah, I would definitely like to. I loved him in the remake of Total Recall. I thought he was great as the villain in that. If you hadn't seen it, with Colin Farrell, Jessica Biel, it's a good movie, in my opinion.
I'll have to check that out.
But anyway, as I was, making my list, I realized, oh, the first 5 to 10 people I thought of were all men, and then I had to literally think a whole lot harder to come up with a few women. And I personally think Michelle Williams might be one of the best, because she was the lead on Dawson's Creek.
Okay.
But now she's, getting nominated for Oscars and is considered, more of a really serious actress. R.I.P. Heath Ledger.
Yeah. Nev Campbell started what?
Yep.
Party of Five.
Party
if
of
I'm not
Five, and
mistaken.
then turned that
Scream
into
and
Scream.
what was that? The Witchcraft as well.
Yeah, The Craft. Don't
Or
forget,
The Craft,
don't forget
yeah.
Wild
There we go.
Things.
Yeah.
I mean, no man who's ever seen that movie could forget Wild Things.
And it seems like Jennifer Aniston is what people usually bring up, and like I know she's been in tons of movies, but I don't know. I don't
feel
think
like
of
she's
her
like
as
a
a
movie star. Yeah, I get that.
I also don't really think of her as a TV star anymore. So I don't know. She occupies a weird space in culture.
But she is still like an A-list celebrity though, which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right now it does feel like the only movies she does are attached to Adam Sandler. but
yeah.
I ain't mad at it,
I got Margot Robbie. She was in like Australian soap opera called Neighbours. Yeah. And
There's a whole bunch of people that like were on Neighbours back in the day.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. There's a lot of actors who got their start on Neighbours.
Cool. Yeah, like her being in The Wolf of Wall Street, as well as being the Harley Quinn. I feel like now when you think of Harley Quinn, you think of Margot Robbie. So, I mean, I think that's pretty cool. But also Mila Kunis from that '70s show.
Yep.
So now she's in Black Swan and Forgetting Sarah Marshall and a few other movies. So what was that? With Justin Timberlake, where Friends with Benefits or something like that. Yeah.
See, I brought that up. I think we talked about that earlier, and they were like, "Well, she's not really a movie star."
Well, it's and I'm kind of thinking, of the level of Will Smith, Robin Williams, gotcha. Cultural ubiquity, and like there's not a lot of women who, there are definitely like Katherine Heigl is another one people keep bringing up, but I'm like, yeah, but she makes like really shitty movies that nobody goes and sees.
You're gonna hate my answer here, but
and now she's doing like diaper commercials or whatever.
You're gonna hate my answer here, but I'm just saying, Sydney Sweeney.
Oh God,
She is an absolute movie star, and started in TV shows.
Yeah, for like certain reasons,
I mean, maybe, but like,
yeah, no, for sure. Like, I agree, but like, I haven't really watched anything of hers, to be honest, because I don't know.
I think she gets a lot of hate she doesn't really deserve.
Yeah,
I
you think
really
she's
do. I don't think she's like a great actress. I don't know if she'll ever be nominated or win an Academy Award, I would like to see her challenge herself in that way, but I do think she makes some bold choices with some of her stuff, and I've never like walked away from a performance of hers and said that it was bad. Like
Okay.
I enjoy everything that I see her in. Honestly, like I think she gets a lot of hate, probably somewhat for like her political views. I think she also gets a lot of hate for being the sex symbol that she is, you know, and kind of leaning into that too. But like, I'm telling you, Immaculate was one of my favorite horror movies the year it came out, and she's got a really good role in it. Like I think she
Okay.
does a really good job in it. It requires some depth. It's not just a big titted girl in a tank top running around screaming, being afraid of stuff. There's some elevated horror to it. So
Okay, yeah.
But the last big example I think here that's a really good one is Melissa McCarthy, who was on Gilmore Girls and then winning Emmys on Mike and Molly while also blowing up and being in Bridesmaids and getting an Oscar nomination. And she had such a good run of movies that I really liked, like The Heat
Yeah,
and
let's say
Spy.
some action movies.
And now it seems like she's just doing movies that her husband produces, and they're all so bad. So I'm hoping that she can work with Paul Feig again and, you know, start making better movies.
You know,
welcome back, Josh.
Yeah. Jada Pinkett, wasn't she in A Different World?
Yeah, you're right.
And you know, she kind of turned that into a movie career for a while too. You know, like I think of Jada Pinkett.
I mean, there's plenty of people who had like done some movies, but I'm thinking of like big long-term career.
You wouldn't think Jada Pinkett though is like a cultural icon, because I do.
I wouldn't.
Not necessarily for her performances as an actress, but everything that she's kind of had around her in the last decade. I don't know, like, you know, with the table talk and everything else, she's still, and she's very big for like, I don't know, like women's empowerment. I think that a lot of people look at her as a trend for that.
She does have more of a cultural influence, I think, than even a movie influence. I think that's a fair thing to call out. I'm sorry for my Wi-Fi just shit out of its like alien ass or something. I'm not sure what was going on. Have we talked about Sydney Sweeney yet?
I brought her
up. Okay. I won't make us go through that again. I just wanted to make sure that we made sure we talked about it.
You knew I was going to bring it up, Josh.
Oh. I'm dead. Anyway, back to the original point of that. Nowadays, it doesn't really seem to matter. You know, people can start in movies or start on TV and go back and forth, and there doesn't seem to be that kind of stigma that TV is a lesser pursuit in terms of acting.
Do you think Pedro Pascal is kind of like reaching that point? I mean, he started off in like Game of Thrones or something like that.
Narcos,
yeah. So
that's a good one. That's a good. I didn't even know. See, that speaks to my ignorance because I didn't even know he was a TV person. I just
oh man, when he showed up on Game of Thrones, I was like, who is this guy? I love him.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of like, it's weird because it's like he started off in TV and then like he's getting real big in movies, but now it's kind of like shrinking back down to like TV shows like The Last of Us, The Mandalorian and whatnot, so stuff like that.
He's also getting the Mandalorian movies.
Yeah, yes.
Well, he was in like, we're recording this in 2026. He was in like 5 movies last year, 2025.
Fantastic Four.
Significant movies, not just like random movies. Yeah, Fantastic Four. Actually, I thought he was really good as Reed Richards.
Yeah, same.
He was in Eddington, which I still haven't seen, but I really want to watch it. He's like one of the co-leads in that. So, I like Pedro Pascal. That's a good pull. I didn't know. Narcos is something I've thought sounded interesting, and just the premise when I first heard about it, and it fell off my radar completely because TV for me, I don't know. I got to get in there. Like the last thing I got into was Stranger Things, and we've talked about this. Like I'm not sure any of those kids are going to become stars, and that's like the biggest show I feel like that has come around that could lead to that, like where like they at least have the facial recognition that I think could give them a chance, but I don't know. I'm not. I mean, I know we've had the Millie Bobby Brown. She would be the one.
I don't know though. Eddie Munson is Johnny Storm. You know.
It was.
Oh,
I
yeah,
thought
you're
he was
right.
really good.
Yeah,
too,
like I think the
as-
kid
as
that played
Johnny
Eddie
Sword,
Munson
so-
might
so.
end up being like a star.
He might be the best one, but I mean, he's not one of the main people. Like, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Millie Bobby Brown, I think, just seems content to make like Netflix movies and
Yeah, she's cashing
make her.
checks.
I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't seem like necessarily she may have aspirations to
Mhm.
do hardcore drama or anything. She just makes like fun Netflix movies, which
It'll come.
she getting paid.
Yeah,
It'll
for
come.
sure.
Good for her.
She'll have
Yeah.
her version of Black Swan at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I hope so. I mean, I would not root against any actor unless we find out that they're
They're a
bad
sex
people.
pest.
Then we will root against them. But I don't think Millie Bobby Brown is out there doing anything like that. So.
All right. You want to move on to the very important question that this whole podcast is based around that we forgot to ask in last week's episode.
We never miss this question ever,
Okay.
especially when I'm doing the notes.
Yeah, going around the horn. Evolution 2001. Does this movie matter?
I'll start, I guess. No, it doesn't matter. But it's a very fun movie. It's enjoyable. Nothing like innovative or crazy happens. It's not anyone's like top movie that you're ever gonna really think about. But it's fun. It's a good movie. It's a very 2001 movie. So in the sense of like this podcast, it's a talking point of 2001, but I don't think it's like a must. So like if you were to talk about movies in 2001, it might be something like 45 minutes into that conversation that gets thrown out there for 10 seconds and you laugh about one thing in it and then you move on to something else. So it's hard to say that matters, but it's enjoyable and you should definitely check it out.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's something that like it's not going to really matter. I think in like the grand scheme of things, like you say, if you put it in some sort of time capsule or something like that, I don't know if it's really going to make it in that time capsule. But I think if you came across it just randomly and you sat down and watched it, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. I think you're going to be okay with that being like, okay, I'm not mad at that. So that's how I see it.
I think it's one of the most enjoyable movies we've watched this year. I enjoyed
really?
the shit out of it.
Yeah,
Cool.
it is in a weird space because we've talked about more important movies that I would say matter and don't matter. And this is low on the list in terms of like if I'm thinking by the end of the year, if we're talking about movies like you have to see, like this is probably gonna be low on the list as much as I enjoyed it and had fun watching it twice. I watched it twice in the last week. And yeah, matters. It does feel, you said something, Slade, about it feeling very 2001 because it does in some ways feel more like 2001 than a lot of the movies that we've watched too. Like it very much feels like it is part of this early aughts in a way that a lot of the movies I like The Knight's Tale more, but it very much does not feel 2001, whereas this is the complete opposite. But I also said A Knight's Tale doesn't matter, and to me, like that's the movie I think about the most, and I related to this, and it's weird to sit here and think that I would ever say this movie matters and that A Knight's Tale doesn't, because I think A Knight's Tale brings way more to the table in terms of like the Heath Ledger, even if it's just Heath Ledger,
Right.
So, yeah, it's hard. If David Duchovny had become a massive thing, I think that's the only way I could see, or Orlando Jones. That's the only way I could see it really breaking into the It Matters conversation, but neither of those things happened. So unfortunately, because I think both those guys are awesome. So
yeah, and I mean, I agree. As enjoyable as I find this movie, I think it's a lot of fun. But if it had not existed, I don't think much would have been lost except for 96 minutes of a good time.
And our smiley face, like that might matter more than the movie.
The poster is
weirdly.
more iconic than the movie itself, which is crazy. Yeah, you know what? It does matter because if it wasn't for this movie, Head and Shoulders would have went bankrupt. Nobody would be buying Head and Shoulders. We buy Head and Shoulders to save the Earth from aliens.
Yeah,
yeah.
but watching this movie really made me want to see Orlando Jones.
Yeah,
I miss
Back
that guy,
and
man.
do some stuff. Yeah.
I mean, he's been in like shows like Everybody Hates Chris and more recently Abbott Elementary. He's the father of the guy I always thought he resembled, or I feel like resembles him. I forget his name. The guy who plays everybody or Chris and Everybody Hates Chris. I feel like they resemble one another.
It's Tyler something.
Yeah,
It's like Tyler Williamson or something like that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I feel like they resemble one another, and so the fact that he's playing his father at Abbott Elementary is like, kind of like a full circle moment for me.
So is he in that show a lot? 'Cause I've not watched Abbott Elementary. It's something I've been meaning to check out at some point. I end up watching all these sitcoms like after they're over. Like
every so often he's there. He kind of like serves that, like, since that character, the guy who plays Chris and Everybody Hates Chris, he's so like, stern and basically to the point and structured. His father really shows why he's so structured, because his father was in the military and just made him do everything by the book. So like he doesn't like, I guess, flow well with breaking the rules, and so like his father serves that point as to why he's like that. So every so often he'll make a cameo.
Tyler James Williams.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everyone.
Oh, oh, sorry. I'm stupid. I'll cut that out. I was fucking you up. That's what I was getting ready to do. I wasn't following. I closed the notes out and forgot to reopen them. I'll leave this in too.
Okay. Okay, take two. Thanks for listening, everyone, but it's time to rest and recover from the Kane madness. So links to all our online hangouts are in the description. And if you aren't already, please consider watching us on YouTube and subscribing anywhere you'd like. And if you like what you heard, don't forget to rate and review us on Apple, Spotify, Overcast, or whatever podcast app you're using. And if you didn't care for it, why are you still listening? Feel free to move along. Any last thoughts from the guys, or Malcolm, anything else you want to plug?
I appreciate y'all letting me on here to, give my thoughts on the movie and really just exist in your all's, I guess, podcast world, man. It was really cool just seeing how you all interact with one another and, share your passion with 2001's movie or just movies in general with one another. I'm not a movie buff per se, but I do appreciate movies a great deal. And this has encouraged me to actually go back and watch a lot of movies just to, whenever I watch your all's future episodes, just to, get the relevance to everything. You know what I mean? So I really do appreciate y'all inviting me on here. It really was fun for me.
We appreciate having you. Tell the people one more time what your podcast is and where they can get it.
All right, my podcast is Hidden Stats, and it will be you can find it on Spotify and YouTube, and eventually it will be on all platforms where you listen and enjoy your podcast on.
Check that out. Can't wait to listen.
Yeah, thank you all.
Okay, and stay tuned for next time, where Josh is going to take us to the other end of the genre spectrum with a movie that, when I went to read a little bit about it, sounds very serious and possibly depressing.
Oh, thanks, Josh.
Yeah, how about this? It's no aliens in this one, unfortunately. It's nowhere in Africa, which is a weird addition to our schedule because it was an automatic entry, and it's one of these movies where it won what was known as best foreign language film at the time, now best international film, but not in the following year. It was like Spirited Away, where it won later. It won at the following Academy Awards, the 76th Academy Awards, or the 75th. Whenever they were awarded in 2003. So it's kind of a weird situation, this one. This is by far the movie I know the least about that we will be covering all year, because it's one of the few movies I have not watched yet still in the time of recording. So it will be a fun watch. Maybe not a fun watch, but it'll be a probably a valuable watch, I would say.
It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. I looked it up and I was like, oh god.
Yeah, it's long. It's in German, I believe. It's it's going to be an interesting one. It is for the listeners, so you can get ahead of it a little bit. It is, at least at the time of recording, it is available on YouTube. Again, Evolution is available legally. I don't know if this is a legal upload, but it's the only way I've found to stream it, other than buying a Blu-ray or so. I bought a Blu-ray. It was, I don't know, it was probably like $10 or something. So I was like, I'm just going to get it. So I have it. But this may be the hardest movie to watch in our entire schedule, I bet, from in terms of like trying to not pay money to watch it. So just a word to the to the listeners out there.
Fair enough. Okay. All right.
That or the next one we'll be talking about. .com for Murders after that. So those two back to back are going to be quite some whiplash.
Can't wait.
Yeah. All right. Well, we were talking about David Duchovny and the song about him and random things. So I figure it's time I leave you all with my musical quote of the year or of the episode here. And of course, with it being the death anniversary of one member of D12 named Proof, we got to quote Purple Pills.
Oh.
Yeah. Pop pills, pills a pop. Pop 2 pills on stilts I walk. Snort 2 lines that were filled with chalk. Thought I was incredible and killed the Hulk. R.I.P. Proof.
Yeah.
And with that, we'll see y'all next week. And remember, guys, there's always time for lubricant.
Smell it.
Thanks, guys.
Like that alien's ass.
I hate it here.